Hello dear children. Now the next chapters what we are going to deal with will be based on geometry. So next I think nearly 4 chapters, 4 to 5 chapters, 4 chapters will be based purely on geometry. Now before we go into the chapters, we should be learning certain basic terms related with geometry. So the first chapter for us in geometry is lines and angles. Lines and angles. This concept already we have learned right from class 6. We have learned about lines and angles. So we'll be just brushing through the basic terms which we will be coming across in this chapter. Just will be brushing up only. You know all those terms. There is nothing new there, the basic terms, but we'll just go through that. Okay. Now the first concept what we require is a point. What is a point? So the first one is point. I'll be just noting down what are the basic things. Point. What is a point? Can you give a definition for a point, a clear definition for a point? When we hear point, what actually comes to your mind? You just put a dot somewhere over here and then say, okay, this is a point. Isn't it? That is automatically it comes out of us. We'll just put a point and we'll just put a dot and then say this is a point. But can you give a definition for that point? There's no clear definition for a point. A point represents a position. It is a position. See, in coordinate geometry we have learned position. A position is represented by a point. So same thing only, a position. We are representing a position. And for representing that position, what we are using? We just use a dot. Okay, this dot, I'm naming it. This is A. I'm naming the dot as A. Then this will represent point A. Only this can be the definition for point. There's no other clear definition what we can give for a point. It is a representation of a position. When you give different names using different letters of alphabet, those points can be called as those letters. Point A, point B, point C or point D, whatever it is. Now second thing is a line. What is a line? A line is something which extends infinitely on both sides. Other than this, can we give any other definition for a line? Because there is no clear definition for line also. A line is something which extends infinitely on both sides. It does not have any endpoints. There's no start and there's no stop for a line. See, earlier in class 6 when you have studied, your teachers would have told you, what you draw like this is not a line. Why? Because a line extends infinitely on both sides. So you cannot draw a line. See, most of you will be mistaken. You will say, take a book and draw a line. Can we ever draw a line? We cannot draw because a line is extending infinitely on both sides. Then what are we drawing? We are actually drawing a line segment. A line segment is a part of a line. So coming to line, line is something which extends infinitely on both sides. It doesn't have any endpoints. No starting initial point and no ending point is there for the line. And hence it does not have a definite length. We cannot measure the length of a line. But we can represent line. How do you represent line? You will be taking 2 letters as it is. So somewhere along the line you are taking 2 letters of the English alphabet and then we say this is line AB. And how do you represent? 2 arrowheads. What does these 2 arrowheads tell you? It is extending infinitely on both sides. And you will write line AB as AB. On the top you will have line representation with 2 arrowheads. This is how you write about a line AB. This is line AB. Say point A, line AB. Now as I told you, what is line segment? A line segment is a part of a line. You are having a line, one particular portion. I am starting from here, ending here. So this particular portion is called as a line segment. So this is line segment AB. And how do you represent line segment AB? It will be AB, yes. Now what does these two represent? It shows that it is starting from somewhere, stopping somewhere. So it has got two endpoints. A line segment has got two endpoints. So if it is having two endpoints, that is, you know where it starts, where it ends. So can't you find the length of the line segment? Yes, you can find the length of the line segment. So hope you have understood the difference between a line and a line segment. Now the next basic concept is ray. Now what is a ray? A ray is, there also a clear definition we can't give. It can also be a part of the line having one end point. Which is that end point? The starting. You start from a particular point and you go infinitely to any direction, that side or this side. Then that will give you a ray. See, for example, you are starting from this particular point A and you are moving in this direction. That is why I have given this arrowhead. This arrowhead indicates that it is moving infinitely in this particular direction. And you take any other point over here, B. So this will represent the ray AB. And how do you write that ray AB? You will write AB and on top you have one endpoint and an arrowhead at the other side, indicating that it is going infinitely in this particular, that is from A to B, beyond that. That is the ray. So a point, then comes a line, then comes a line segment, and then a ray. These are some basic concepts. More are there. We are going to deal with that also. Now I have marked some points over here. Point A, B, C, D, E and F. Now all those points which come on a straight line, all those points which come on a straight line, which are those points here? A, C, D and E. These points are called as collinear points. C-O-L-L-I-N-E-A-R. Collinear. Collinear means inner line. Co, going together. So all these points are falling on a straight line. So what are these points called as? Collinear points. Now with respect to these points, look at the point B. Is the point B on the line where the other points are? No, it is not on the line. So point B is known as a non-collinear point. Non-collinear. Non means not. So non-collinear means not collinear. So the points B and F are non-collinear points. Why do we call them as non-collinear points? Because they do not fall in the line in which the other points are there. So all points which come in the same line are called as collinear points, and the points which do not come in the same line are called as non-collinear points. Now coming to the next basic concept is angles. When is an angle formed? Angle. When is an angle formed? An angle is formed when two rays or two line segments start from the same end point. Two rays or two line segments which start from the same end point, then we have an angle formation. For example, you are having a ray like this, say OA, and another ray, say OB. both of them are starting from the same endpoint O. Then you have an angle formed here. This is an angle. Even this is also an angle. This is also an angle. So when two rays or two line segments start from the same endpoint, you have an angle formation. Now based on angle, the common point from where both the rays start, we call it as the vertex. What do you call it as? The vertex. And the two line segments or the two rays which form the angle, that is OA and OB, which are forming the angle, we call them as the arms. So which is a vertex here? O is a vertex and OA and OB are the arms. The arms are OA and OB and the vertex is O. So what is vertex? The common point from where the rays start. Arms, the two rays which forms the angle, that is an arm. Now one more thing, how do you name an angle? How is an angle named? An angle is named by putting the letter denoting the vertex in the middle of the other two letters which represent the rays. So, and what is the symbol for an angle? A tilted L. So how do you name this particular angle? This angle, how do you name it as? This will be named as angle AOB. The letter denoting the vertex is written in the middle. So this angle is named as angle AOB. These are all preliminary things what we have learned in class 6. Now this is angle. Now we will be learning different types of angles. One such different first we will be learning types of angles based on their angle measurements. So all angles of measure less than 90 degrees. What do you call them as? Acute angles. What are they called as? Acute angles. A-C-U-T-E. Acute angles. Then angle of measure 90 degrees. Exactly 90 degrees. What do you call it as? Right angle. It is called as right angle. Then next is angle of measure more than 90 degrees. More than 90 degrees, we call it as obtuse angle. O-B-T-U-S-E. Obtuse angle. Then angle of measure exactly 180 degrees. See, exactly 90 is right angle. Same way, exactly 180 degrees. We call it as straight angle. S-T-R-A-I-G-H-T. Straight angle. Now, angle of measure more than 180 and less than 360 degrees. More than 180 degrees and less than 360, we call it as reflex angle. R-E-F-L-E-X. Reflex angle. And angle of measure 360 degrees, we call it as complete angle. Complete angle. So these are the different types of angles based on their angle measure. Acute, right, obtuse, straight, reflex and complete angle. That is why I told you this is also an angle. What is this angle? It will be the reflex angle. So these are the different types of angles based on their angle measure. Now we have angle pairs also. Different pairs we have learned. One is, pair means two angles. So two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. Say 40 degrees and 50 degrees. If you take together, those two angles sum is what? 90 degrees. Such angle pairs we call as complementary angles. What do you call them as? Complementary. Then next pair is two angles whose sum is 180. 180. 100 plus 80 is 180. Then those two angles or that pair of angle, we call them as supplementary angles. Supplementary angles. So two pairs we have learned, complementary angles and supplementary angles. This is also based on their angle measure, but it is a pair.